The Q&A series continues with a look at the FPL community questions sent in via Twitter, ahead of Friday's Game Week 27 deadline. FPL Dare asks, Arnautovic or Felipe Anderson? With a kind schedule over the next 6 game weeks, and no matches set to be postponed, West Ham players can help us with our Game Week 31 preparation. Felipe Anderson has directly contributed to 12 goals in 26 games this season, while Arnautovic has recorded 10 goal involvements from his 17 starts. The Austrian international appears to have a slight advantage when it comes to goal threat, producing 1.2 efforts on target per game compared to Anderson's average of 0.7. However, the pair have actually returned very similar points per game, with 4.7 for the Brazilian and 4.4 for Arnautovic. So perhaps the most important factor to consider is whether a midfield or forward option would be better suited to your squad. Subo asks, when are you planning to use the Wildcard, free hit and bench boost chips? Initially, using the free hit chip in Game Week 31 appeared tempting, with only 5 matches taking place that weekend, but the FA Cup quarter-final draw has not been kind to that approach. The primary issue is that there will be further postponements in Game Week 33, for teams such as Man United, Wolves and most likely Man City, which would make it difficult to load upon their players for the double Game Week 32. So the current plan is to assemble a team for Game Week 31 using free transfers between now and then, before using the free hit chip to build an optimal squad for double Game Week 32. Then the team will revert back to one ideal for blank Game Week 33, before using the wildcard in Game Week 34 to load upon players for double Game Week 35, with the intention of using the bench boost chip there. But please do remember that there's no right or wrong way to use the chips, so you might find that an alternative approach would suit your squad better. Matija asks, triple captain on who and when? Double Game Weeks 32 and 35 will be potential occasions to use the triple captain chip, for those who either don't have their other chips remaining, or who plan to take an alternative approach. For the rest of us, there's still a chance of there being an additional smaller double game week, which would be a perfect time to use the triple captain chip. But as a worst case scenario, there's always the option to use it on an informed player during a standard game week. So Salah at home to Huddersfield in Game Week 36 could be an option, or failing that, Pogba at home to Cardiff on the final day of the season. Callian asks, will Aguero stick to this form and be a must-have asset? For those who already own the Argentine, it must be tempting to keep hold of him and look to sell him after Watford's visit to the Etihad in Game Week 30. But if you don't already have him, there's no rush to bring Aguero in for Game Week 27, as Man City are of course without a Premier League fixture this weekend. Over the next 5 game weeks, they'll play just 3 times, and there's even a strong chance of them having their Game Week 33 fixture postponed as well, if they manage to beat Swansea in the next round of the FA Cup. Ultimately, it depends on your chip strategy, but if you're looking to buy someone ahead of the Game Week 27 deadline, it's definitely worth looking at an alternative who'll have an extra 2 games over the next 5 game weeks. That might mean looking towards a cheaper forward, such as Arnautovic or Rondon, and redistributing the funds back into a heavy hitter in midfield, such as Sadio Mane. Jess Bullock asks, would Son be a good captain option this week, considering no Man City players? Game Week 27 captaincy options are more limited than usual, with Man City one of 4 teams to see their fixture postponed. On top of that, Liverpool travel to Old Trafford on Sunday, adding an element of uncertainty to usually reliable options such as Salah or Pogba. So Heung-min Son is definitely a sensible choice from the remaining premium players, and he comes into this weekend's meeting with Burnley having scored in each of the last 3 game weeks. The South Korean ranks joint top for goals scored amongst midfielders, matching Mane and Pogba's tallies of 3, and only Aguero has fired more than his 14 goal attempts across all positions. And the final question for this episode comes from Marlav, who asks, best replacement for Hazard? The Belgian presents owners with a frustrating dilemma, being out of form and without a fixture in Game Week 27, and yet also someone we may be able to turn to for help in navigating through blank Game Weeks 31 and 33. He's returned only 2 goals and 1 assist in the last 7 game weeks, while Chelsea have suffered defeats in 3 of their last 4 matches. But he's still produced a tally of 15 attempted assists in the last 6 game weeks, bettered by only Maddison and Gross, and his total of 13 shots inside the box ranks joint 3rd amongst midfielders, behind only Pogba and Mane. So again, depending on your chip strategy, it may be worth looking to keep hold of Hazard. But if you're set on letting him go, the obvious replacement to consider is Sadio Mane. He scored in each of the last 4 game weeks, averaging 8 points per game, and no midfielder took more efforts on target or from inside the box during that period.